Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show, where we talk all things vegan. If you're not already vegan, no worries, we'll get you there. If you are, tune in for health advice, information on climate change, and all the damage done by our most destructive industry, animal agriculture. We'll also talk cooking, theater, film, and culture. My 2 reasons for starting this podcast: to entertain, to inform, and to make people vegan. Oh, that's 3. Shit. Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show. You could find us across all your favorite podcast platforms. You could find us on YouTube, and please remember to subscribe. And you could find us at realmeneatplants.com. I have 2 special guests today, and they're friends, and they work together. We have Dustie Condon, who is the proprietor of the Tasty Plate Cafe in the town of Morgantown, Indiana. And Stacy Jenkins, who's the owner of the Jenkins Forever Farm, which is an animal sanctuary. So Dusty and Stacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
What is your story? How did you get to know each other and collaborate?
Well, I started at a restaurant in Nashville. I helped to build out a brand new restaurant, and I was encouraged by a local to introduce no meat, no dairy options. So we had closed down for a couple weeks, and I did a menu that duplicated the new menu I was launching. Only added 5 ingredients to my line, but it drove the business about 50% roughly. And I started tracking what was selling, chef specials to desserts to appetizers and stuff, and really started to get to know this side of the food business. Myself at the time, I wasn't vegan. I have had issues over my life eating meat, so the transition has been easier than most, I'm sure. So in that process, one of the local foodies brought Stacy in to that particular restaurant, and she would travel from Edinburgh to eat with us every week or so, and would take home a substantial amount of to-go food. And that I got really upset one day at that restaurant, and I decided if I was going to work this hard, it was going to be for myself.
Well, what should I ask what you got upset about?
I was getting a lot of kickback from the front of house staff. They would say things to me like, well, we don't want to be known for a vegan restaurant. And I'm like, well, we're really not known for anything now. And vegans, plant-based foodies, or even just healthy minded folks that wanted a cleaner way to eat, that's what we were becoming known for.
And you weren't even vegan at the time, right?
No. Well, my mother-in-law is Okinawan, so I've been cooking with her for about 24 years. And so they're a blue zone. And so I respect food. I respect the hands that prepare the food. And so I walked out of that restaurant, launched the Tasty Plate the next day. I still felt the need to feed omnivores. And once I went vegan, I decided that if I wasn't going to eat it, I wasn't going to make money off of it. And then Stacy said to me, if I took the Tasty Plate 100% vegan, she would jump in and help however she could.
Okay. So Stacy, how long had you been vegan?
So at that point, I had been vegan probably 4 years. This was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. So I've been vegan 6 years now. So I lived in the middle of Edinburgh, which is a farming community. So to get vegan food for me, I had to drive to Indianapolis, or a major city 45 minutes away. So when I heard about Dusty putting food out, which was still 45 minutes from me, but I had to go that distance no matter what. And there was a better variety and a little more whole food plant-based. So I was looking to be a little healthier too. And so it made sense for me to go there, and then here we are.
Well, Stacy, what turned you vegan 6 years ago?
It would be the animal sanctuary. So my husband and I moved out to a little farm about 7 years ago. We started adopting a couple goats and alpacas, but the first animal that we brought in that I would have typically eaten, which was a pig, immediately it just clicked in my head that it's not right or normal for me to be rescuing them and eating them at the same time.
Well, wait a minute. You started an animal sanctuary before you were vegan?
I did, yes.
Nobody does that.
I know.
So I'm guessing you started this animal sanctuary and you said to yourself, hey, I started an animal sanctuary. Maybe I should be vegan.
You got it.
um, what caused you before you were vegan to start an animal sanctuary?
I think, I've always had a really deep love for animals, and I don't think I realized the piece I was missing was like not eating them. And
Yeah.
so when we moved out, honestly, we moved out where we moved to be away from people because I've always been closer to animals than I have humans.
Uh-huh.
And I should say non-human animals. But when I saw the need for animal sanctuary outside of companion animals, or what most people consider companion animal, cat and dog, I felt like the need to go there. And so like I said, we started with alpacas and goats. And at that time, it didn't really click to me because I didn't eat alpaca and goats. So I just didn't make that connection.
I never had alpaca in my life.
Yeah, so and most people haven't, I don't think, not at least from the US. So, but like I said, as soon as I brought an animal on the property that was someone I would have eaten before, I
A
couldn't.
pig.
Yes,
Yeah. So it was a pig that did it for you.
there's a pig that did it for me. Yeah,
What was the pig's name?
Wilbur. Same as a lot of pigs.
So, Wilbur the pig.
Yeah.
Wilbur is like the Smith of pigs.
Right. Everybody has a Wilbur. We actually have a second Wilbur now. So yeah.
Okay. So Wilbur the pig turned you vegan.
He did.
And what about your husband?
So he did not go vegan, but when I pulled meat and dairy, he cut out we haven't had like cow's milk or non-vegan butter in the house for a long time. And now he's to the point, he's not 100% vegan, but like yesterday he begged me to make tofu scramble for breakfast. And he prefers, deviled potatoes over deviled eggs. And he still hasn't had, non-vegan butter or milk in almost over 6 years. And so he's slowly getting there.
Okay. So one more question about the founding of the sanctuary. Okay, you loved animals, you decided to found a sanctuary, and your husband just went along with that idea?
He did. Yep. If you ever met us, I'm fairly headstrong. So when I want to do something, I just do it. So we talked about it, but he helps me on the weekends with bigger projects. But as far as the day-to-day care, the fundraising, all that, I handle that 100%.
Well, I've learned to say yes, dear, to my wife, but I think if she said, let's start an animal sanctuary, I might say, could we at least talk about it?
Well, her parents too are her biggest fans.
Yeah, we've got a lot of support.
Yeah, her parents have been, and they're eating more of the food that I prepare here. And so there's also what your mom said, hey, I think it's time to go vegetarian.
Yeah.
So small steps.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dusty, did you met Stacy when she came into your cafe in Nashville, Indiana?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Well, and another issue with that particular restaurant was that I love going to tables. I try to build my staff in the back of house to where, if we get an order, they can build it. It's going to look great. It's going to be like I was there. So I would travel from table to table. And one of the staff members at this restaurant said, can you please not come out and talk to patrons anymore? And I was, no, I'm not. That's the only way that you're going to grow and learn what people are looking for. And so, I would get into some pretty lengthy conversations about her sanctuary. And so I said, well, I'd love to sponsor an animal, pick one out for me. And so she picked Rudy out, who I guess is a very independent, strong, ornery little critter. This is Rudy. And he's about 1,900
Yeah,
pounds?
about 1,000 pounds. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things that I do here as well is we save all the scraps. She takes them to the sanctuary, and it usually, now I think now he recognizes the green bucket that the food comes in. And so I try to do zero waste in the kitchen and recycle as well. So we're trying to be less of a footprint as possible.
So Dusty, your cafe is in the town of Morgantown, Indiana.
Yes.
which I believe is the sister city to Paris, France. Is that right?
Uh,
Close.
yeah, off a few miles, but that's okay.
Okay. And is it, some people say that the most vegan cities in the world are Berlin, Warsaw, maybe London, New York. Would Morgantown be on that list?
Well, considering there's not a lot of restaurants here and we have a tremendous support from the community, we're hoping to turn it into a destination location. We actually have people this last weekend that traveled from Illinois and from farther northern Indiana. And they said, well, we're just going to have to make this a vacation spot. And I was like, Morgantown, Indiana. Who would have? Right?
Well, what are the things to do in Morgantown besides going to the Tasty Plate Cafe?
This is one of those small towns. So we are not far from Nashville, which is a destination location for fall.
Now, to be clear, that's Nashville,
Nashville.
Indiana, not
Yeah.
Nashville, Tennessee.
And so there literally is one stop sign in Morgantown, and you just drive. I mean, it's just one of those towns you just drive through and really don't recognize it. But there are locals here who are repurchasing properties, putting money into it. The state plans on redoing our main drive here, and taking it a little more old feeling to get it back to its original state. There's a lot of wonderful community things going on. Unfortunately, not necessarily for tourists. There is a homeschool group that I want to do a cafeteria experience here for them once a month. I want to be able to have a mock service for them here so they can get some experience working. The local church does yoga, and I mean, there's things, but it takes, I think, youth and people that are wanting to invest back into the community. But this has also been something that's been a cost-effective decision for me. I could have gone to Nashville, Indiana and opened a restaurant. My rent, it wouldn't have been sustainable. We'll just say
Yeah. For those who don't know in the audience, Nashville, Indiana is a kind of touristy place with a lot of art galleries and boutiques, and gets a lot of tourist traffic.
But there are owners here that are, from what I understand, there's going to be an art gallery opening. We have a new bridal store that's here. So, I mean, it just takes time.
Okay. Now, what has been the reaction of the people in Morgantown, Indiana, to having a vegan restaurant? Because there are a lot of towns 10 times that size that don't have a vegan restaurant.
Well, Stacy handles the front of house, and she has often said, I wish we had a camera to capture the face of people who go, well, what did I just eat? And it's like, well, it's jackfruit. And they're like, that wasn't beef. And it's like, no, that happens daily.
Frequently. Yeah. I would say 60, 70, maybe even more % of our business comes from locals who are omnivores, definitely not vegans. Some people eat here don't even realize it's vegan.
Is the word vegan used anywhere in the signage or anything?
No, we have like a V with the leaf, but not, it doesn't scream vegan. So we did that on purpose because of our location. But the people who come here who are vegan almost always say, I had to double check that and say, okay, there's a vegan restaurant in Morgantown. Is this right? And they still come in and I'm helping them and they're like, is that vegan? Is that vegan? I'm like, yes, everything. It's all vegan. So.
Yeah, and I was even mindful to, I don't want to use leather. I didn't, just to make sure when vegans walk in here, it's an inclusive environment and they're not going to go, oh my gosh, is that leather or is this, that, and the other? And so, but no, I intentionally didn't want plant-based, whole-based, vegan anywhere put in the restaurant because my approach has been I'd rather be a whisper than a shout. Because there's a lot of in-your-face all over the place nowadays, and that's not the approach I wanted to take.
Right. So many people come in who are not vegan, don't even realize that it's a vegan restaurant. And what kind of things do they order on the menu? Tell us some of the dishes you have on the menu now.
Tell them about your new menu.
Well, so to back up a little bit, when I started this adventure, I decided to start with prepared meals and like private parties. The prepared meals I was doing out of the One World Share Kitchen in Bloomington, Indiana. It grew the business enough that another vegan company decided to sell their food trailer, so I purchased that. We started hitting the beat, different farmers markets and events with that. And then when the opportunity for the food trailer came up, or the cafe, it was an easy decision to make. But on the food trailer and even in the cafe, nachos and tacos definitely are hands down some of the best sellers. We are seasonal menu here. I am trying to use local as much as possible. I go to local gardens and pick a lot of the veggies and stuff myself now. We have a reach and cooler. So, you know, trying to be able to offer a menu where people can actually purchase some of the items here has been important to me. Smash burgers, French toast. We're getting ready to kick off with menu waffles.
What are smash burgers?
It's made out of a walnut, black beans, a bran cereal, onions, herbs and spices, and that's all my secret
Well,
sugar.
that sounds very good. Do people know when they're ordering a smash burger what a smash burger is?
The description is on the menu, and we try to answer as many questions as possible, and we get a lot of those. But on the back of the menu is a description of basically it explains the products that we use in house.
Well, do customers ever order the smash burger expecting beef?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, we've definitely had some customers order items. The one that sticks out to me is in March, we had Irish stew on the list, and we had an older gentleman who thought he was sneaking one past his wife because he's not supposed to have red meat. And he thought he got one past her. And then we said, well, that was actually jackfruit. So
it's always the wife who sneaks one
wins.
past the husband.
I know.
Yeah, he was like, whoa, I was worried about the cholesterol.
Yeah.
I got worried about that.
So how did he like the Irish stew?
He ate every bit of it and loved it. Yeah.
She made soda bread to go with it too. So it was a nice little compliment.
Yeah. Now, do you know of any comparable restaurants that are vegan in a little town like Morgantown? Have you met any colleagues who have done a similar thing?
Well, no, I don't know. I
Not
mean,
in
there's
the small
you got
town,
Lucky
no.
Lemon, I think, up in
in Kokomo. Yeah.
But see, we're unique because Stacy also does some of the desserts, and those dessert sales go to her sanctuary 100%. So we're trying to continue to attach the animal face to the food that goes out. I don't think there's another restaurant or sanctuary that are working together like we are.
Now, Dusty, when you went into the restaurant business in Nashville, Indiana, you were not yet vegan.
No.
You are vegan today. Was it Stacy who turned you vegan?
No, it was like I said, trying to feel the commitment to feed a whole base, the omnivores, the vegetarians, the vegans. I was so used to feeding people omnivores. You know, I didn't see what I needed to see at the moment. And so once, like I said, once I decided I was done with meat, I was done with meat.
But why did you decide you were done with meat?
Well, I was exposed to some things children shouldn't see as a child of how animals are slaughtered. And that's always hung with me every time I would order something. So I would often order tofu instead of animal protein when I went to a restaurant. And like I said, I just decided if I wasn't going to consume meat and dairy, I'm not going to make a profit off of what the animals suffer. So and then when this started all getting serious and Stacy was like, if you convert the Tasty Plate to 100% vegan, I'm in. The next day it was me. I was worried we were going to lose some followers and foodies, but even all my omnivores still order prepared dishes. They still come in and dine. So it's been very interesting. This is all so new and unexpected. This is my second career in a sense. I stumbled into food. I don't have a culinary professional background other than working with a lot of wonderful women that love to cook and had the patience to teach me some of their skills.
Now, what was your first career?
I was in optics. I was going to go to school to be an ophthalmologist or an optometrist, and I decided that the sales, auditing, inventory side of a optical store was more my way. So I worked for one of the largest optical chains in the country, and I enjoyed it. It offered me the retirement, the 401ks, and everything like that. But that business changed as well, and it wasn't fulfilling anymore.
Well, there's nothing better than the 401k from a vegan store or vegan cafe in
Uh,
Morgantown,
a lot of our
Indiana.
people actually work for food, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Now, Dusty, is there also an element of your business involving employing people on the spectrum?
yes, that has been a passion of mine. In 2020, I helped to reopen one of the larger restaurants in Nashville. And I got a phone call from one of my son's friend's mothers that said she had a sister that was high functioning autistic and had a lot of restaurant experience. I was told that she's non communicative, but you give her a task, she'll follow it. Long story short, 4 years later, relationship with this woman. She initiates conversation. She takes ownership. She's currently working for the school system and on break, but filling in for me this summer. But I need her, so I'm getting ready to approach the parents about what we can do to bring her on board. What benefits do I need to try to provide for her? And DSI out of Bloomington actually reached out to me to employ some folks through their program as well. So that is it's an important factor for people who don't have opportunities. But when I started a program in Nashville, Indiana, I was with the high school special needs teacher, and we were teaching the employability skills for the state of Indiana, basically building a resume. I don't want the Tasty Plate to be a forever home for people because not everybody's going to love the restaurant business, but we can build resumes and try to put people in a place to where they're fulfilled, and a business owner will have a lifetime employee if they, you got to treat everybody right, but especially have more patience with some folks on the spectrum.
Okay. So currently, do you have anyone on the spectrum working for you right now?
I have two.
Two.
Her name is Catherine, and she is phenomenal. She is, when it comes to baked goods, actually, she's just phenomenal at everything. I wouldn't be here without her. And then I have another young lady that just graduated from high school who is working her way into being more comfortable with being around people. So she was bullied in high school and things like that. So I just want to provide a safe environment for her.
Well, that's a beautiful thing you're doing.
Thank you.
Stacy, do you and your husband run the animal sanctuary by yourselves? That's a lot of animals to feed.
We do. We have a little bit of help from a neighbor who comes once a day, Monday through Friday, to give everybody fresh water, which takes about an hour and a half. But otherwise, yes. And we also both work full time. So it's a volunteer position for us. The only paid position is the little bit that we give our neighbor to help us. But as of right now, yes, it's just us.
Now you have over 100 animals, is that right?
We do, yes, 15
Al
different species.
Okay, let's go over the species. You got alpaca.
So we have alpacas, sheep, goats, pigs. Let's see, what else do we have? Chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, cats, iguanas, ferrets, rabbits, guinea pigs. Did I say iguanas already?
Yeah.
We have a muntjac.
A what?
A muntjac. He's a Reeves muntjac. They're a miniature deer species from southeastern Asia. They shouldn't
Oh my
be
goodness.
here, but yeah, he probably was brought here on like some sort of exotic pet black market. And I feel like I'm forgetting someone. That's close.
You're going to have an angry
Guinea
animal when
pigs,
you get
cows. We have too many cows.
Yeah.
Cows.
home. Okay. So, where did you get them all?
They've come from a variety of places. We don't do a lot of owner surrender, meaning if someone just doesn't want their animal anymore, we don't usually take them on. We usually reserve our space for animals who are either old, have some health issues, maybe some behavioral issues, because we do run as a sanctuary. So they're going to live their life out with us. We don't do adoptions. So if we come across a really young animal that's an easily adoptable animal, we'll usually get with a partner sanctuary to have them adopted out. But most of ours come from hoarding cases through the local like shelters, animal control, stuff like that.
So how did the alpaca find you?
So our very first alpacas we took in, we actually got them from a retired breeding group that was shutting down and getting rid of all their animals. So we took in some quote unquote retired breeders. And then they've come from, we have some that have been abandoned on properties. The biggest alpaca situation we took on was 2 years ago. There was a woman who had an alpaca farm in southern Indiana, and she was breeding alpacas, but not feeding them or giving them water. So when they finally seized the property, there were 26 deceased animals on the property with 7 alpacas alive. And they came to my farm that night, and 2 of them passed away within the two weeks. And then the rest have survived and are living a wonderful life. But that was probably the most traumatic and difficult situation I've been through. And because I got a call that morning saying, can you take 7 alpacas tonight? Because they got this secure order. So yeah, things usually they move quickly. There's not a lot of planning involved. And so luckily we were in a position to take them. But so yeah, they've all kind of come to us in a variety of ways.
Now, I think what everybody wants to know is, how do alpacas get along with geese?
Well, we don't know much because we try to keep them separate. So
Oh, okay.
big hooved animals and feathered animals are best kept apart.
They get
So
along.
how do you, what was that, Dusty?
They get along with the cows.
Yeah, the alpacas are out with the cows, so that they
Okay.
get along with them. Yeah.
So which animals are the best friends?
Well, really any herd animals. So like the goats and alpacas and cows will all tend to kind of hang together. Sheep kind of stay together by themselves. And then all of what I call water birds, geese and ducks all tend to stay together. But we try to keep the species somewhat separated, just because for a lot of reasons, the minerals they need, the feed they need, some of their requirements are just different. And like, for instance, ducks and geese get watered really dirty really quickly. And for goats and alpacas, it's important for them to have really clean water. So when you have them together, that's next to impossible. So we used to have everybody kind of all together because it looked cute and everybody thought it was really neat that everybody got along, but it really isn't the ideal husbandry. So we've been working to split everybody out and get them in the right spot.
She also recently has purchased an additional piece of property that's a house over from hers that she is fundraising to develop. She had an eclipse event there. I was the only food trailer, and oh my gosh, it was so big. It was the best day we've ever had. And you know, for people to come to an eclipse event like that, to be able to be hands-on with the animals, and vegan food is the only option. It was a wonderful time. So we look forward to continued fundraising to develop this property with her, for her.
And if people want to donate to your 501c3, where do they go?
If they go to Facebook, to our Facebook page or our website, jenkinsforeverfarm.org.
jenkinsforeverfarm.org.
Yes.
Okay. And are you planning to bring in more animals, especially if you get this other property?
Not really. So the expansion property is really to provide the amount of space, the pasture space that the current residents we have right now really need.
Well, I'm sorry. She wants to, from what I understand, which I thought was, I didn't even realize was a thing, was to be able to move her cows or whomever she puts on this property to a piece of grass, let them handle that, move them to another piece of grass. So then that way the ground's not overworked.
Yeah, you can kind of rotate them. Yeah, right now we're having to provide hay pretty much year round to the animals, which is okay, but not ideal. And because we just don't have enough pasture space. So when we move over there, like Dusty said, there will be enough pasture space in everyone's individual pastures that we can rotate them and can hopefully, other than winter time, be able to provide them with natural grass instead of hay that's, you know, from the previous season. So hopefully that helps. Now, also as animals pass away, we would take new animals in, but we're probably about at our max total number of animals.
Now, what are your sources of food besides hay and grass?
So almost everybody gets grain, some sort of grain that's specific to their species. And then depending on which animal, like all of our rabbits get fresh greens every night, our iguanas get fresh greens. So during the winter, we have to purchase those from the grocery store. During the summer, I have a vegetable garden, so I'm feeding them from that right now.
Your vegetable garden is
Yeah.
sufficient for all these animals?
Yeah, for myself and for the animals. So yeah, I
Wow,
have,
it's a big vegetable garden.
yeah, it's about 50 to 60% romaine, collard greens, and red leaf lettuce. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Dr. Esselstyn would approve of that diet.
Yes.
Um, let's take a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with Dusty and Stacy.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant-based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t-shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I Want Tofu Tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, Real Women Eat Plants gear, Real Kids Eat Plants, and Real People Eat Plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
Okay, now Dusty, at the cafe, I imagine you're trying to keep this a very sustainable place. So what sustainable measures do you take?
Well, my husband actually does an environmental engineering kind of job. He travels around and cleans up toxins in the earth and things like that. So even in our home life, we try to be full circle with using local as much as possible, recycling. Here in the restaurant, I try to do compostable containers as much as possible. With bamboo utensils. When we get the food truck out there, we're also using those types of products versus I don't have any styrofoam in the restaurant nor on the food trailer. We do have a reach-in refrigerator here that's grab and go for people, and I use recycled plastics for that, and I put stickers on it that say, please recycle me. I would hope that people either reuse them or do recycle them. And I do, you know, if we do even a large event, I try to accommodate for that as well.
Okay. How big do the events get in Morgantown, Indiana?
I've actually recently had somebody reach out about catering a party of 300.
A party of 300 in Morgantown?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily here. I think the occasion would have happened in Bloomington, actually.
Okay.
But we don't have refrigeration. I said, well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pass on that opportunity. And she goes, well, the bride that's vegan is gonna be really disappointed. I said, well, that's not to say I can't feed the bride and other vegans and vegetarians that caterer would work with me. But 300 is a lot. We're just not equipped to do a big setup and breakdown like that, but we can offer catering here, pick up to go as well.
Okay. And you also have a trailer, right, Dusty?
Yes, there was another vegan company, a little organization, and he shut down, and we got wind of the food trailer being for sale and how awesome it was to be able to pick up something that was previously vegan. We didn't have to worry about it being too crazy contaminated, I guess you could say. And it's a hookup to the back of my pickup truck type of thing. It's an old vintage looking, it's a pretty awesome little thing. And once I get things stabilized here and we have a good repeat business, I want to use that trailer to possibly convert it to a dessert trailer. Because if I'm going to try to convert more people to a vegan lifestyle, I think, unfortunately, sugar and sweet treats is that path. Because nobody argues when they look at the desserts, they're not even thinking that it does. And then they eat it and go, wait, there was no milk or eggs in this? And it's like, no,
Mhm.
there wasn't. And so I would love to be able to take that trailer out and offer things that like Oreos. People are shocked that Oreos are vegan. And I actually do have a candy table here in the restaurant with all accidentally vegan items because I want kids in the community to be able to walk in and associate Oreos as no meat or no dairy, things like that, and be able to say, "Oh, I got a piece of candy at the Tasty Plate for 10 cents." You know, I mean, those are the kinds of things. So I think that as far as the food trailer, if somebody wants us to bring it to an event, it's available for that. But down the road, we tried to sell it. It didn't sell, and maybe the price was too high, or maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But I don't even think there's any other vegan restaurants around that have a food trailer, so we just decided it's best to hold on to.
So it may become a vegan dessert trailer.
Yeah, like build your own cupcakes, you know.
Well, let me make a suggestion then. Can I make a suggestion?
I bet you're gonna say Food Truck Friday. Oh,
Use
okay.
recipes. I'm sure my friend Chef AJ would be delighted to have you use some of her recipes
Okay.
from our upcoming book, Sweet Indulgence.
I'll look
And
into
the
that.
difference here is that these are healthy vegan recipes without
Well,
sugar, without
okay.
gluten, without oil.
Okay.
Healthy vegan recipes. So people, dessert doesn't have to be the unhealthiest part of the meal.
Well,
So if you use these healthy vegan recipes, then, then you're spreading health with your
yes.
dessert tray. Because the Oreos, I don't care if they're vegan. They're not good for you.
Yeah, they're not. But I also look at this as an opportunity is I could definitely go fine dining. I could do yeah, you know, all different avenues
Fine
of,
dining with a trailer?
well, no, here in the
Oh,
cafe.
oh, okay.
But I look at this as we have an opportunity to be a transition type of restaurant where I could absolutely do everything whole base, clean, forks over knives, clean, clean, clean. But I also sometimes will offer like Dr. Prager burgers because I want people to know that they can purchase those things at the grocery store.
Mhm.
I think that that has been like people go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could get that. So forks over knives. We have we have magazines here that people can read. I use some of their recipes or real close to them, so I can say, well, look at forks over knives. You can get their queso through that. So I'm trying. I just don't. We just don't really advertise all that. I don't know, detailed information. But when people are serious like you about your health,
Mhm.
you reach out. You know, we do have several foodies that will reach out about what's in something. We have a significant amount of people who are either in cancer treatment, post cancer treatment. They have all sorts of health issues. So we try to modify as best we can ahead of time and keep things aside that I haven't added sugar, haven't added salt. I try not to overspice things. We have a sauce station here. So we try to be as accommodating as possible because a lot of this is how I eat. So I'm 51 now and I don't take any medications. I'm in pretty good shape. And so I think proof is in the pudding that if you live the lifestyle that it's sustainable, but it is a commitment. You have to commit to it.
Well, I'm older than you and I don't take any medication.
Well, yay for you. Look at that.
The goal is to never take them.
That's the goal.
I'm lucky. I can't even swallow a pill. If I wanted to, I couldn't take one.
Well,
How do people do that? Swallow a pill? I put the pill in my mouth and then I put my head back and I take a swig of water and then the pill doesn't go down. But
no.
I don't, that was only when I tried when I was a kid to take a vitamin. I haven't even tried since.
Well, you treated your body well, so it's just rejecting something that's not normal, I would imagine. So keep it up.
Now, what do you serve in the way of drinks at the Tasty Plate Cafe? And people all around the country listening, if you're in Morgantown, Indiana, or anywhere nearby, please stop at the Tasty Plate Cafe. What kinds of drinks do you have?
Well, we're keeping it simple. As we grow, we'll I don't add things. We just have unsweetened tea. We have water that has lemon in it. I keep some seltzer drinks. We have iced coffee. We did
Yeah.
come up with a mocktail drink list, and it changes every 3 months along with our regular menu. So, but down the road, I'd love to be able to offer smoothies and more
Mm.
customized things. But I'm trying to evolve in this and grow slowly versus being in debt and having just as a heavy load. I'm looking for natural growth without a ton of overwhelming promotion and just staffing issues and things like that. And this has worked out really good.
Well, is business building?
It is. It is. We're doing. We're only open Friday nights, Saturday and Sundays. The prepared meal business does pretty well. We're able to pay the bills and pay down what little debt we have and pay the staff that we have. So to me, that's a win. I don't have to work for anybody else, and that was the ultimate goal for this cafe. Or even just to have the tasty plate was I didn't want somebody else telling me what to do. Who, when you're a creative individual and you have limits, then that shuts down your creativity. And this also allows me to have other people be creative in the restaurant as well, and cooking desserts or coming up with drinks, things like that. So,
Stacy, when you help out in the cafe, what do you do?
I do a combo. So I do some things behind the scenes. My background is business management, taxes, and accounting. So I do that piece of it. And then when I'm in the cafe, I just run front of house. I take orders, I answer questions, bus tables, whatever I need to do to expose people to what we're doing.
Okay. So right now you're just open on weekends, right? Any thoughts of expanding that?
to be honest with you, Morgantown, the state plans to tear up the front of this main road here.
Oh, no.
Late next year, from what I understand, they're going to invest some money into the community. So as long as what we're doing right now is slow growth and we're headed in the direction that we want to head, I think once all of this happens within the state, then maybe we'll look into, or in the community, maybe we'll look into opening more. It really boils down to staffing. COVID, changed the whole face of the restaurant business. And so, at most, what I could see is if we do open, it would be just for sandwiches and drinks. We have a couch in the cafe that people can come in and sit and relax. We have board games, card games. I want this to be an environment where people can just come in and chill out without even feeling obligated to buy anything. This is a safe space for the local kids to come into. So we'll open as the business justifies it.
Okay. And do you know have you met other vegans who live in Morgantown?
Yeah.
How many?
Not many.
Probably 5 or 6.
Five or
This is
six.
a town of like 400 people.
The town
And
is 400, 5 or 6. That would be.
We're doing good. Yeah.
But we have we keep frozen soups in the freezer. So we have a lot of like the yogis that come over from church yoga, and they'll pick up frozen soups and things like that. But there seems to be a lot of healthy minded people in this community that have really wanted somewhere to go that they could get a fresh salad, or even though we don't offer a lot of salads, believe it or not, they can grab a dessert. Or we also sell like local fresh mushrooms, lion's mane. They can come in because our only grocery store here closed down, and so there is not even a grocery store in this town. So we're a location where there are people that come in on the weekends to pick up just some small supplies. So
And so you're supplying the food from some local farmers, right?
yes.
How many different farm operations do you deal with?
4.
4. All right.
Yep.
So you're helping 4 local farms.
Yep.
You're helping people on the spectrum. You're helping people get healthy. And Stacy's helping the animals. So it strikes me as a good thing you're both doing.
When you lay down, when I go to sleep at night, it's just a wonderful feeling knowing that I'm going to come in and work with people that are like-minded. Maybe we are different in why we're choosing the way that we take care of our bodies, the earth, the planet, the animals. But we are definitely a pretty unique group of people that have pulled together. And we have 8 employees, and most of them are here for their own our own growth. We have a woman that works in an elementary school. She's the she's the chef and does food at a local school. And she accidentally ate here one day and said, "Hey, can I come work there? I want to introduce more of this food to my kids because we have a lot of them with allergies. And if I could prepare food this way, then that would cut out a lot of these allergens." And so she works here when we need her, and she's taking some of what we're doing back to her own job, which is priceless. So that's awesome.
Well, that's great. And Dusty, is your husband vegan?
No,
No.
but
Would
he's
you like me to talk to him?
well, he's half Japanese, so he's grown up eating he doesn't eat a lot of beef. He eats more chicken and fish and things like that. Eats a lot of tofu. He's not really a veggie eater. But at the end of the day, if I don't even really cook at home anymore. He'll come in here to eat. So
then he's vegan when he's eating there.
well, when he wants, or we eat out a lot, which is Indian and Thai. I've got some of my favorite restaurants that I go to. So
Are there Indian and Thai restaurants in Morgantown?
no. We go to Bloomington or to Whiteland or to Greenwood. So no, but he's slowly, like her husband, kind of coming around. And I don't push it on him. I took home some desserts yesterday and was like, "Hey, I brought you some goodies." And he was like, "Oh, no, that's awesome." So,
all right. So we have to bring the husbands around.
If you want to optimize your health by following a plant-based low-fat diet, look into the education, events, recipes, exercise, fun, and more provided by the Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group at pbnsg.org.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Dustie Condon, the owner of the Tasty Plate in Morgantown, Indiana, and Stacy Jenkins, the owner of the Jenkins Forever Farm. And I've got to say, I think, Dusty, you have probably the record for the vegan restaurant in the smallest town in America and maybe in the free world. A town of 400 with a vegan restaurant. So congratulations to you on that.
thank you.
And Stacy, keep doing the good work for the animals. We will have to reconvene in a year. And if your husbands are not yet vegan, you'll have to bring them on with you. And I will have a talk with them. How's that?
That's a date.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank
soon.
you.
All right.
This has been the Glenn Mercer Show, where everyone listening turns vegan, regains their health, and annoys their friends and relatives. Find us on YouTube at The Glenn Mercer Show and across all your major podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe.